Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, and Singadev Bhagavan, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Gaunitai, Tulsimani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So, thank you very much for joining today. We wanted to continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 86, which is entitled Arjun Kidnaps Subhadra and Krishna Blesses His Devotees. This chapter describes how Arjun kidnapped Subhadra and how Lord Krishna went to Mithila to bless his devotee Bahu, Laswa and Shrutadev. When King Parikshit desired to learn about the marriage of his grandmother, Subhadra Devi, Sukadev Goswami said, while touring on pilgrimage, Arjun heard that Lord Baladev had intended to give the hand of his sister Subhadra to Duryodhan in marriage, and that no one else approved of this plan. Not a good plan. Wanting to kidnap Subhadra and marry her himself, Arjun disguised himself as an renunciate sannyasi, complete with Tridandi, and went to Dwaka. So effective was the disguise that neither Balaram nor any other resident of Dwaka recognized him. Rather, they all showed him the respect due a Vaishnav mendicant. In this way, the 4 months of the rainy season passed. One day, Arjun received an invitation to dine at Balaram's home. So he was a renunciate, sannyasi. He went to Dwaka disguised. Thus he caught sight of Subhadra and was immediately overwhelmed with desire for her. Subhadra also desired to have Arjun as her husband, and thus she glanced back at him shyly. So it's unusual that Balaram didn't know, but Subhadra did know. A few days later, Subhadra left the palace to participate in a temple festival. Taking this opportunity, Arjun abducted Subhadra, which was sanctioned by her parents and Krishna. So, Vasudeva and Devaki were happy, but more importantly, Krishna was happy. And that's what counts. That's what counts. If Krishna blesses, no problem. So, this is Arjun catching sight of Subhadra, and then Arjun kidnapping Subhadra, although it's not really a kidnapping. As Arjun took Subhadra away, her relatives shouted in anger, but standing on her chariot, Arjun took up his bow and drove off the valiant fighters and palace guards who tried to block his way. When Balaram heard of Subhadra's kidnapping, he became as disturbed as the ocean during the full moon. So during the full moon, usually the ocean is a little turbulent. So Baladev also became turbulent. But Lord Krishna respectfully took hold of his feet and, together with other family members, pacified him by explaining the matter. And what was the explanation? That Arjun loved Subhadra. And in any case, Duryodhan wasn't the right person for Subhadra. And everybody, apart from Balaram, was in agreement with that. Lord Balaram then happily sent the bride and groom very valuable wedding gifts consisting of elephants, chariots, horses, male and female servants. So that was a very nice pastime. Happy ending. There was a Brahmin devotee of Sri Krishna named Shrutadev who lived in the city of Mithala, perfectly satisfied by rendering unalloyed devotional service to Lord Krishna. He was peaceful, learned, and free from sense gratification. He would earn only barely enough to keep himself and his family alive. Still, he was always satisfied and spent all his time executing his religious duties. So then there was somebody else as well. King Bahu Lashwa, Bahu Lashwa was another great devotee of the Lord, residing in Mithila, a member of the dynasty in which King Janak had appeared. Bahulashwa ruled over the whole province of Videha. Yet he remained as detached from material wealth as Shrutadev. So this is phenomenal. When you have it, and yet you're not affected by it. That's amazing. Pleased with the devotional attitude of both these great souls, Lord Krishna went on his chariot to Mithila to visit them, taking along Narad, Vaman Dev, Atri, Vamadev, Atri, Krishna Deva Naya Vyas, Parshuram, Asita, Aruni, myself, so also Sukadev was there, Brahaspati, Kanva, Maitreya, and Shyavana. So this is an eyewitness account. In every city and town, the Lord passed along the way, O king. The people came forward to worship him with offerings of arghya water in their hands, as if to worship the rising sun surrounded by planets. When he reached Videha, the people of Mithila greeted the Lord and his saintly entourage with great delight. Bearing various gifts for Krishna, they bowed down and offered obeisances to both him and the sages. Bahulashwa and Shrutadev both stepped forward and respectfully requested Sri Krishna to visit their homes. To satisfy both of them, the Lord expanded himself and went to each of their homes simultaneously, neither of the two devotees being aware of this. When Bahulashwa saw Lord Krishna was somewhat fatigued from the journey, he immediately arranged to have seats of honor brought out for them. Bahulashwa worshipped him suitably, offered prayers, washed his feet, then sprinkled themselves and all their family members with wash water. After that, he worshipped all these great lords by offering them fragrant sandalwood paste, flower garlands, fine cloth, ornaments, incense, lamps, arghya, cows and bulls. Sumptuous feasts were offered to the Lord and the sages. When they had eaten to their full satisfaction, for their further pleasure, the king began to speak slowly and in a gentle voice as he held Lord Vishnu's feet in his lap and happily massaged them. Neither Ananta, goddess Shri, nor unborn Brahma is dearer to you than your unalloyed devotees. And to prove your own words true, you have now revealed yourself to our eyes. What person who knows this truth would ever abandon your lotus feet when you are ready to give your very self to peaceful sages who call nothing their own? This is the position of the Lord. Right? He'll give himself to his devotees. What does that mean? He'll do anything for them. He loves them so much. So this is phenomenal. Please stay a few days in our house along with these Brahmins. Krishna consented to stay for some time to bestow good fortune on Mithila. So then Shrutadev, right? Very contrasting personalities. One was a king, one was a very poor man. Shuddhadev received Lord Achyuta into his home with as much enthusiasm as that shown by King Bahu Lashwa. After bowing down to the Lord and the sages, Shuddhadev began to dance with great joy, waving his shawl. After bringing mats of grass and seating his guests, he greeted them with words of welcome. Then he and his wife washed their feet with great pleasure. With the wash water, he sprinkled himself, his house, and his family. Overjoyed, he felt that all his desires had now been fulfilled. He worshipped them with offerings of auspicious items easily available to him, such as fruits, uh, ushira, root, pure nectarian water, fragrant clay, tulsi leaves, kusha grass, and lotus flowers. How is it that I, fallen into the blind well of family life, have been able to meet Lord Krishna and these great Brahmins? Shutadev addressed the Lord. It is not that we have attained the audience of the Supreme Person only today, for we have in fact been associating with him ever since he created this universe. Somehow or other, we're always connected with God. Some are more connected, some are less connected. But the connection is there because we are living, we are souls. So there's always a connection because this Paramatma is right next to us. Even though we've lost sight of the Paramatma, it doesn't matter. Still there's a connection, maybe a very distant connection. You reveal yourself within the hearts of those persons of pure consciousness who constantly hear about you, chant about you, worship you, glorify you, and converse with you, with one another about you. But although you reside within the heart, you are very far away from those whose minds are disturbed by the entanglement in material work. You are that supreme soul, and we are your servants. How shall we serve you? So, the Supreme Lord replied, My dear Brahman, you should know that these great sages have come here just to bless you. They travel throughout the worlds with me, purifying others with the dust of their feet. Oh, so he's purifying the worlds with the dust of their feet. One can gradually become purified by seeing, touching, worshipping temple deities, places of pilgrimage, and holy rivers. But one can attain the same result immediately by simply by receiving the glance of exalted sages. So we've heard this before. We can go to holy places, we can bathe in the rivers. But what's very powerful is the mercy of the devotees. Very powerful. By his very birth, a Brahman is the best of all living beings in this world. And he becomes even more exalted when he is endowed with austerity, learning, self-satisfaction. What to speak of devotion to me? So this is a wonderful comment. A Brahman, best of all living beings, becomes more exalted when he is endowed with austerity, learning, self-satisfaction. These are the occupational duties of the Brahman. Even my own four-armed form is no dear to me than a Brahman. Oh my goodness. Krishna is saying even Lord Vishnu, four-handed form, is not as dear as a Brahman. Within himself, a learned Brahman comprises all the Vedas, just as within myself I comprise all the demigods. Ignorant of this truth, foolish people neglect and enviously offend a learned Brahman, who, being non-different from me, is their spiritual master and their very self. They consider worshipable only such obvious manifestations of divinity as my deity form. So yes, we must offer obeisances to the deities, no doubt. The Lord is in that form. But here the Lord is saying, look, don't ignore my devotees. Don't ignore the Brahmins who are learned. They're as good as I am, worshipable as I am. Because he has realized me, a Brahmin is firmly fixed in the knowledge that everything moving and non-moving in the universe, and also the primary elements of its creation, are all manifest forms expanded from him. So everything is coming from the Supreme Lord. Brahman is fully understanding this. Therefore, you should worship these Brahman sages, O Brahmana. With the same faith you have in me, if you do so, you will worship me directly, which you cannot do otherwise, even with offerings of vast riches. So this is very powerful comments by the Lord. Very, very powerful comments. Thus both Shuttadev and the king attained the ultimate transcendental destination by the wonderful instructions of the Lord. After staying for some time with his two great devotees, the Lord returned to Dwarka. So, chapter 87, the prayers of the personified Vedas. So the Vedas, they're scriptures written by Srila Vyasadeva. But the Vedas actually exist in the spiritual world as personalities. So they are living beings. The Vedas are living beings. So they offer prayers. They glorify the personal and impersonal aspects of Lord Narayan. So King Parikshit asks Srila Shukadev Goswami how the Vedas can directly refer to the supreme absolute truth, Brahman, since the Vedas deal with material realm governed by the three modes of material nature, and Brahman is completely transcendental to these modes. So this is a very interesting question. Right? Question is, the Vedas deals with three modes. How can it deal also with the transcendental nature of the Lord? In reply, Sukadeva Goswami said that the Supreme Lord manifested the material intelligence, senses, mind, and vital air of the living entities so that they could indulge their desires for sense gratification, take repeated births to engage in fruitive activities, become elevated in future lives, and ultimately attain liberation. He then described an ancient encounter between Sri Narayan Rishi and Narad Muni at Badrikaksha. So Narayan, they live in Badrikaksha. Narad Muni met them. Traveling to that sacred hermitage, Narad found the Lord surrounded by exalted residents of the nearby village of Kalapa. After bowing down to Narayan Rishi and his associates, Narad submitted the same question to him. In reply, Narayan Rishi related an account of how this very question had been discussed long ago among the great sages living on Janakalok. These are the Vedas, an idea. And this is the whole Vedic system. We have Shruti Vedas and then Smriti Vedas. It's a very, very vast science, and written through so many different books and sages. Once these sages, mental sons of Brahma, who are all perfect celibates on Janalok, feeling inquisitive about the nature of the absolute truth, chose Sanananda Kumar to speak on the subject. Sanandan told them how the numerous personified Vedas to awaken the Lord appeared as the first emanations from the breath of Lord Narayan. They recited prayers for his glorification just before creation. Sananda then proceeded to recite these elaborate prayers of the Vedas. O you who are awakened, all the energies of the moving and non-moving embodied beings, sometimes the Vedas can recognize you uh, recognize you as you sport with your material and spiritual potencies. It is towards you alone that the Vedic sages direct all their thoughts, words, and acts. After all, how can the footsteps of man fail to touch the earth on which they live? Interesting comment. Interesting comment. So Vedic sages, they direct their thoughts on the Lord. Just like we are able to step on the earth. Can't live without earth. The wise get rid of all misery by diving deep into the nectarian oceans of topics about you. Then what to speak of those who having by spiritual strength rid their minds of bad habits and freed themselves from time are able to worship your true nature. So we have to try to do this by the spiritual strength provided by the guru and the devotees. It gets rid of the bad habits in our mind. Very hard to do in this age of Kali Yuga. Only if they become your faithful followers are those who breathe actually alive. Otherwise, everybody's pretty dead, even though they're living, even though they're breathing. If they're not focused on the Lord, effectively they're dead because they are simply getting themselves more and more entangled in this material world. And this material world is just made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. That's it. Only if they become your faithful followers are those who breathe actually alive. Otherwise, their breathing is just like that of a bellows. Bellows is like the thing that you can pump air out of. Worshippers raise their consciousness upward to the top of the head, where they can perceive you directly, then passing through the top of the head towards the supreme destination. They reach that place from which they will never again fall to this world. So those who are great sages, they can raise the soul up to the top of the head and then burst out, go back to the spiritual world. This is very powerful stuff. Very, very powerful stuff. Those of spotless intelligence who are altogether free from material attachments realize your undifferentiated, unchanging self to be the permanent reality amongst all these impermanent life forms. The Vedas describe the soul to be part and parcel of you, and learned sages become imbued with faith and worship your lotus feet, to which all Vedic sacrifices in this world are offered, and which are the source of liberation. Some fortunate souls have gotten relief from the fatigue of material life by diving into your pastimes, which you enact when you manifest your personal forms to propagate the unfathomable science of the self. These rare souls, indifferent even to liberation, renounce the happiness of home and family because of their association with devotees who are like flocks of swans, enjoying at the lotus of your feet. When this human body is used for your devotional service, it acts as oneself, friend and beloved. But unfortunately, although you always show mercy to the conditioned souls and affectionately help them, people in general fail to delight in you. How is the Lord helping us? Many people will say, I am in such difficulties because of the Lord. No, He's given us the air we breathe. Can we live without air? This is such a most basic of elements that we have to be grateful to the Lord. If we didn't have air, how can we live? He's helping us at every step. Forget about air, water. Forget about water, food. He's assisting us in every single way. In 15 chapters, Bhagavad Gita shows us how he helps us in every single way. He becomes the fire of digestion to help us digest our food. What can we do? What do we know? We don't even know how the body functions. right? It automatically grows air. It automatically does so many things. We don't even know anything. This is all the Lord's arrangement. And yet we are so ungrateful to it. Instead, they commit spiritual suicide by worshipping illusion, Maya. Alas, because they persistently hope for success in their devotion to the unreal material world, they continue to wonder about this great fearful world, assuming various degraded bodies. This is called reincarnation and karma. Simply by constantly thinking of Him, the enemies of the Lord attain the same spiritual truth whom the sages fixed in yoga worship by controlling their breath, mind, and senses. So the Lord is neutral, even to His enemies. He will give them the same reward because they are thinking of Him. Everyone in this world has recently been born and will die soon. So how can anyone here know Him who existed prior to everything else and who gave rise to the first learned sage, Brahma, and all subsequent demigods? Supposed authorities who declare that matter is the origin of existence, that the self is compounded of separate aspects of spirit and matter. All such authorities base their teachings on mistaken ideas that hide the truth. This is a Big Bang theory. Everything originates from this material world. Matter is the origin of existence. That's so ridiculous. The dualistic conception that the living entity is produced from the three modes of material nature is simply a product of ignorance. The three modes of material nature comprise everything in this world, from the simplest phenomena to the complex human body. Although these phenomena appear real, they are only a false reflection of the spiritual reality. The devotees who worship you as the shelter of all living beings disregard death and place their feet on their head. But with the words of the Vedas, you bind the non-devotees like animals, though they be vastly learned scholars. Your material energy causes the various moving and non-moving species of life to appear by activating their material desires, but only when and if you sport with her by briefly glancing at her. So this is the Lord. He simply glances and material energy is awake. No big job for him. It is simply illusion for someone to think that he knows the Supreme Lord, who is equally present in each of his expansions, since whatever knowledge one gains by material means must be imperfect. How can we possibly know the Supreme? He is perfect. We are totally imperfect. Neither material nature nor the soul who tries to enjoy her are even born. Yet living bodies come into being when these two combine. The wise souls who understand how your Maya deludes all living beings render potent loving service to you, who are the source of liberation from birth and death. How indeed can fear of material life affect your faithful servants? The devotees are never fearful because they are always under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Even if they have to leave the body, it doesn't matter to them because they know that they are protected, completely protected, fearless. The mind is like an impetuous host that even persons who have regulated their senses cannot, and breath cannot control. Mind is so tough to control. Those in this world who try to tame the uncontrolled mind, but who abandon the feet of their spiritual master, encounter hundreds of obstacles in their cultivation of various distressful practices. Yes, yes. Spiritual master is so important. To those persons who take shelter of you, what further use have such devotees for their servants, children, or bodies, their wives, money, or houses, their land, good health, or conveyances? If you've taken shelter of the Lord, what more do you need? And for those who fail to appreciate the truth about you and go on pursuing the pleasures of sex, who could there be in the entire world that could give them real happiness? Anyone who even once turns his mind towards you, the ever blissful soul of all existence, no longer dedicates himself to serving family at home, which simply robs a man of his good qualities. Doesn't mean we go off to the forest, but our focus is the Supreme Lord, even at home. We serve our relatives or friends or husband, wife, whatever, children, with the attitude that they are also servants of God. It's not that we give everything up. We can't give everything up. Ricky, it's quite a bit, huh? Okay, good. Two more pages. The learned words of your Vedas bewildered all persons whose minds have been dulled by hearing the incantations of sacrificial rituals. The illusory material nature attracts the minute living entity to embrace her, and as a result, he assumes forms composed of her qualities. Subsequently, he loses all the spiritual qualities and must undergo repeated births. So, this is the thing about Maya, keeps us well and truly stuck in this world. Members of the renounced order who fail to uproot the last traces of material desire in their hearts remain impure. Thus, you do not allow them to understand you. So, even if one is renounced, it's tough. Although you are present within their hearts, for them, you are like a jewel worn around the neck of a man who has totally forgotten it is there. Can you imagine if you have a jewel around your neck and you've forgotten you got it? You're the most wealthiest, but you're thinking you're the poorest.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Pravin.
When you say members of renounced order who fall to uproot the last traces, material desire in their hearts remain impure, and thus you do not allow them to understand
Understand
you.
you. Yes.
And second thing, although you are present within their hearts, so who are these when you say their
These are
hearts?
the sannyasis who have not completely, they still have some material desires. They still enjoy opulent food and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. These are the sannyasis who've taken, they've taken renounced sort of life, but they still enjoy some material senses, and they're still enjoying.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And why it is telling you are at the present within their hearts?
Because
So when you say you are at the present,
he is there.
does this mean
Paramatma.
we?
Paramatma.
Paramatma is in their hearts.
Oh yeah, he's in everybody's heart. But they've forgotten he's there. They don't realize he's there. That's the difference.
And you are telling you are like a jewel worn.
Yeah. I.e., if you have a diamond in a necklace, but you've forgotten it's there, right? You're thinking, oh, I'm very poor. Actually, you are wearing a diamond necklace. You don't even know it.
Right. Okay.
Same way, Paramatma is in our heart. God is just next to us, but we don't know it.
We don't know. All
Yeah.
right. Hare Krishna
Thank
Prabhupada.
you. Thank you very much, Prabhupada. Very good. Very good. Those who practice yoga only for sense gratification must suffer punishment both in this life and next. From death, who will not release them? And from you, whose kingdom they cannot reach. This is people doing yoga to enjoy, making their bodies strong. But yoga is meant to be connecting us to God. That's the idea of yoga. When a person realizes he no longer cares about his good and bad fortune arising from past pious and sinful acts. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his past karma because he has realized God. Since it is you alone who control his good and bad fortune. Wow, this is a powerful statement. Such a realized devotee also discourages what ordinary living beings say about him. Disregards. He doesn't care if others are talking behind his back. Who cares? Every day he fills his ears with your glories, which are recited in each age by the unbroken succession of Manu's descendants. And thus you become his ultimate salvation. Because you are unlimited, neither the lords of heaven or nor even you yourself can ever reach the end of your glories. This is really amazing. Even Krishna himself doesn't know the end of his glories. The residents of Janalok were personally satisfied upon hearing Sananda recite the prayers of the personified Vedas, which enlightened them about the true nature of the supreme absolute truth, understanding their final destination. They honored Sananda with their worship. Narayan Rishi guided Narad to faithfully meditate on these instructions. Thinking about it, Narad Muni was equally satisfied to hear the philosophy from Sri Narayan Rishi. Then Narad offered his obeisances to the Lord and went to see his disciple Ved Vyas. To him he explained everything he had heard. So this is very interesting. Thus Sukadev Goswami replied Parikshit's questions concerning how the mind can have access to the absolute truth, which is indescribable by material words and devoid of material qualities. He is the Lord who eternally watches over this universe, who exists before, during, and after its manifestation. He is the master of both the unmanifested material nature and the spiritual soul. After sending forth the creation, he enters within it, accompanying each living entity. There he creates the material bodies and then remains as their regulator. By surrendering to him, one can escape the embrace of illusion, just as a dreaming person forgets his own body. One who wants liberation from fear should constantly meditate upon him. So, this is the end of chapter 87, a phenomenal chapter full of philosophy. Any questions, Barbara?
Yeah, I know. He said something about this mind is like a horse, and it is true.
Yes, very good. Very good.
It's 100% because
Yes.
we, even when we are doing puja,
Yes, yes.
you want to your mind is doing puja, but you're still, it's running somewhere else,
Yes.
and it's very hard to control.
Very hard to control.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes, I mean, interesting, very interesting,
Very
but
interesting.
too much to remember.
Too much, but this is good because
Yeah.
better to have more than
Yeah.
less. Yeah, yeah.
And in earlier you said something about Sukadeva king. Was it Sukadeva?
Sukadev Goswami is reciting this. He's telling Parikshit Maharaj.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
He's the reciter.
No, no, earlier, not Sukadeva. Earlier,
Oh,
if you turn,
Shrutadev. Shrutadev, he was a very poor Brahmin in
yeah,
in Mithila, and but he was very dedicated to God.
Like, where you going, Marble Arch?
Oops. Let me
Yeah,
just.
you need to change at Oxford Circus back.
Yeah, he was very dedicated to Lord Krishna, and Krishna visited him.
Srutradeva,
Yeah, Shrutadev.
and he visited Krishna,
No, Krishna visited his home with all
and
the sages.
he was very poor.
Extremely poor. Very, very poor.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I that's why I'm asking, because that time you was reading, I was just listening, but
Yeah,
sometimes the new names come in
it's
these
hard.
chapters.
Hard.
You want to know who the person is.
Hmm.
That's why. Now I know when you said Sutadeva. Yeah, that's right. All
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Prabhu, sorry, Prabhu. I just want to ask you about, Nar, you said in Badrik Ashram, Nar and
Narayan. Narayan.
Nar Narayan. Are they two different
Yeah,
persons?
true. It's actually Arjun and Krishna. Nara is Arjun, Narayan is Krishna. Narayan Rishi. They're a combination of, they are two separate, and they always traveling together, Nar and Narayan. And they reside in Badrikaksham.
Okay, so they are still there,
Yeah, they're still there. Mm.
but we can't see them. Yeah, they are like
These great sages can see them. Yeah, yeah. It's good
oh, I see.
to see them. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. I think it's
Saji, you said, are they still there?
yeah, present to this very day.
But we can't see them.
You can't see them. No.
So, but even when you say Nar Narayan, is it even if we go in this Krishna temple, the Radha Krishna is there? Is it Nar Narayan or no?
No. Nara is actually Arjun.
All right, and
Nara
Narayan
is
is
man.
Krishna.
Nara is man.
Uh,
Arjun is Narayan is Krishna.
Nara is Krishna. But there is no temple of them.
No, there will be. There's many temples. Oh, in Badrikaksham, there will be. There will be. Badrinath, yeah. I'm sure there will be. Yeah, yeah.
All right. It's really difficult the way Mataji said. But thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam Purana ki jai.